Welcome to SharkCapTable.pro. Keep a bigger bite of equity. We are on the tab Print Valuations. This is where you're ultimately going to make a 5-page package which substitutes as an executive summary with the key information that this model produces. I'm going to show you by clicking on number 16 how we're going to structure talking points to support your founder pre-money valuation. There are 7 of the questions. If we go to 17, the very next one, another 5 of them. So let's go back to 16 and discuss this quickly. What's the problem being solved by your product and service, and why it is important? I mean, this has got to be, and by the way, what's happening here is we ask a question. In the light gray area, we've actually given you an answer. It's just something I threw together just so you can see approximately what we're driving at. You have to think up your own answers. So what's the problem being solved by your product and service, and why is it important? I mean, why are you in business? What is it that you're going to solve? How are you going to help the world, or how are you going to help a particular group of people? There's got to be a problem. There's got to be something that you're going to solve with your technology, your product, or your service. Why your product or service is awesome, and why is it better than what currently exists? There's always something out there that's a substitute. There's never a zero competitor situation. So talk about why you're great, why it's going to be terrific, why will users pay for it, and how much. You know, if the service costs $1 million, I've got news for you, there will be very few people that can afford it. If it costs $1, it might very well attract a large audience. So be watchful of how much you're charging and make sure that people will actually pay for it. What does it cost you to acquire a customer? What is the churn rate? Oh, so important. Oh, it only cost me $1 million to get a customer in the last 3 days. Well, you better be selling billion-dollar items if that's the case. How do you generate that number? Well, you look at your data. You start acquiring customers and see how many dollars it took to bring in your group of customers, and then watch and see if these guys buy it once or continue to buy it over and over. And if they buy it once, do they bother to come back again? What's the lifetime value of a customer? Well, if it's a continual process, how many times will they buy it, and what does that sum total equal? In the case of my product here, I've turned it into a rental situation because I want to get that recurring revenue as opposed to a single one-time sale, buy it, and forget about me. Let's go down a little further now. What is the size of the opportunity and share of market you intend to capture? Well, again, people are looking for these billion-dollar markets, and it would be nice to say you're going to capture 100% of that market, but that's always crazy. If you can get 3 or 4% of a large market, that could be a very significant number of dollars, and later you could acquire more and be the front runner. Discuss the strengths of your team and why is it the right one to do it. Computers don't sign leases, computers don't invent things. People invent things. People sell things to other people. People get things going. Good people make good products and make successes. Bad people stay away from them. Now let's go to 17. What is the level of competition? Never ever say there isn't any competition. Well, there's always some kind of near competition. I remember owning a Pickett slide rule. And then 2 years later, out came the Hewlett-Packard 80. It cleaned the clocks of every person or every company making slide rules. But before the slide rule, there were adding machines. So they were mechanical adding machines. So it wasn't the first time that somebody came up with a calculator. It's just that it was an electronic calculator, and it did things that even the mechanical monsters couldn't do. What are your competitive advantages, features, price, distribution, management? There always has to be several advantages that you have over everybody else, because if you don't have those advantages, you're going to have a tough slog of it. There's got to be something that holds you above and beyond everybody else. Let's go to the next one. What is your current plan of attack? best demonstrated in a timeline with phases. Absolutely. Timelines are terrific. Most people start to forget about time and they can't look very far into the future. Yes, days are made of hours and minutes, but timelines are made of weeks and months. And make sure that you have enough money to get past the goals that you set for yourself. And if you're not making the goals, you better figure out why and readjust the entire plan. Don't burn through all of your money and find out that you only completed the first 3 and you got 10 more to go. That does not sit well with investors. Let's scroll down to the next one. How will you use your funding? You need a budget and/or a projection model, a good one. So list what you need and then put it in the model and see how it all comes out. Very important. So many people say, oh, I don't want to care about the details, the numbers, I'll let somebody else do that. Wrong, wrong, wrong. That's why this particular model, SharkCapTable.pro, we inserted financial statements that you can enter your own data. Now, they're not perfect, and they don't do months because that gets to be way too complex for most people, but we just have this summary of 7 years, and if you need a lot of help, well, give me a ring, because we've got the giant models that can summarize this down into 7 years for use in SharkCapTable Pro. What will be your development and revenue milestones? Well, figure it out. Look at them. Set them up, put them in that timeline, and then watch how well you're doing on a day-by-day, month-by-month basis. That pretty much does 16 and 17. Read up on these things and write them in, and then you'll be able to answer what's going to go on in our next section.